welcome to another wonderful episode of WaiVER CLaiM.
WaiVER CLaiM.
WaiVER CLaiM.
Oh my gosh. The show where we're not fighting each other. We're teaming up to take down our AI buddy MILO. Rafael, you're already going after the robot. What'd you say?
I said tell that to Vin.
All right. So the 2026 NFL schedule is out, which means we can thankfully stop talking about the NFL draft every single week on this show. I know everyone out there is like, thank you. The draft is like an ex-girlfriend. You two had a good time, but you know it's time to move on to bigger and better things. So on this show today, we've got the draw, which goes over the winners and the losers of the schedule release. We got the claim every single week. This week with 4 bold predictions from our AI buddy MILO. And we got the fine print, which is going to be the scheduling oddities no one else is talking about. So, as you can see on this lovely screen of ours, we have Chris. What's up, Chris?
How's it going? Josh Harris is a carpetbagger.
That is accurate.
And also, it was really nice to see Freeway back in Philly. Good concert.
Nice. Rafael, welcome to the show. What's up?
What's up, man? Ben is flat in the front like a Ken doll. Just wanted to get that out there. Don't ask me how I know, but I know.
Yeah, that was my question. How would you know that? Ben, I'm going to go right to you on this. Welcome to the show, first of all. How does he know that?
He doesn't. He's, what do they call that? Projecting.
Oh, and Alberto, how are you doing?
You guys.
Throwing that back to the Goonies thing from last week. I love it. All right. First segment, the draw, which is going to be the winners and the losers from the 2026 schedule release. And the draw is brought to you by our friends at the Pulling Guard. I'm going to try not to butcher this like I did last week. The Pulling Guard is an elite line of sports and trading card products built for collectors. You want to put that shiny cardboard on display and don't get caught with your cards down. Check them out at protectyourpull.com and follow them on TikTok at pulling_guard. Use code IOG WaiVER CLaiM for 10% off.
WaiVER CLaiM.
WaiVER CLaiM. The draw. This is how it works. All right. 4 categories. We got the best draw, quiet gift, worst draw, and buried landmine. So we're going to start with the best draw, which is basically who got the cleanest path to a deep playoff run. Rafael, start us off. Who do you think has the best draw of the year and why?
I hate being a homer, but I got to say it's got to be the Ravens, especially to start off the season. Their first 6 opponents, none of them were a playoff team last year. Granted, they do play Dallas in week 3 and Rio, which I think could be a very tough game. That game could actually come down to whoever has the ball last. And it's going to be a real test for Jesse Minter's new role as head coach and the new defense that he's installing. After week 6, they do have a little bit of a rough schedule. 5 of their next 6 opponents before their bye week were all playoff teams last year. I hate going on to Buffalo on the road. That's one of our opponents. We play the Chargers one week. We play the Jaguars one week, both primetime games. And then, they eventually have a bye week in week 13. And then after week 13, their last 4 games of the season are actually division opponents. And I always feel like division games are kind of a toss-up. They play the Steelers twice. They usually don't play well the week after they play the Steelers. And they happen to play the Steelers the last week of the season. So that really has me worried as far as if they were to make the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs, if they don't get that first round bye, that first round of playoffs is going to be really tough for them because they usually don't play well the week after playing the Steelers. So it's going to be tough, but at the same time, considering where they were and what kind of team they are, I feel like that they have a really nice, easy path to the playoffs.
I hate when they stack all the division games at the back.
Same.
That's really annoying to me as a fan. I'm used to having the Giants or some Commanders game at the end of the season. A lot of the times they don't mean anything, and that's boring for division games.
Well, I guess they're
I
trying
don't know how
to.
you guys feel about
I
that.
guess they're trying to leave the division up for the last 2 weeks with the way they scheduled it this season, or at least for the AFC North. It feels like. I
Do
think
they typically do that for the North? Because the NFC East typically would be that way. This year is not, at least for the Eagles, which was interesting to me. But
the last
like, is
the
that
last
normal?
the last few years, they've had to play the Steelers and the Bengals really late into the season. I've never seen it where they play 4 games back to back against division opponents before. But what are you going to do? Just you got to play the cards that you're dealt.
I think my main pushback on them being the best draw is that Brazil game. Like the travel to and then coming back from it
Well,
is
they do.
really rough. Like the Eagles did that. Like, and all the players were talking about for like 3 or 4 weeks after the fact, like the toll was still on their body. So it's not like you get a couple extra days rest type thing. It's just something that I would keep an eye on if they come out like sluggish those next few weeks. It's probably related to that travel.
I get that. I actually came across something that said that usually they have more days off after their trip to Brazil than teams usually do. So it doesn't bother me as much. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure they play the Browns after they get back from Brazil. I'm not worried about the Browns.
Yeah, Chris, I think you feel the same about the Ravens this year, right? With the best draw.
I'm a little bullish on the Ravens. I know Milo is bullish on the Ravens. Little tease for episode or segment 2. But I I was actually just watching that the opener to the season like today. That was a brutal loss for the Ravens. The Henry fumble, the like last couple of touchdowns in a couple minutes type of thing. Like the Ravens are always a good team, and it could be like when Andy left the Eagles and other teams, like sometimes you just need to spice it up a little bit and you get some new energy in the building and they just pop off. Like I like the Ravens this year.
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo. For me, I mean, I absolutely love the Lions this year. Chris and we talked about it. I think that the Lions are on a trajectory this year where they are going to get into the playoffs and it's going to be pretty easy to do so. So, they open up against the Saints. Then they got to play the Bills, which is not the easiest game, but I feel like they can beat the Bills. Then they have back-to-back bye weeks against the Jets and the Panthers. So it's a pretty easy first 4 weeks. And then if you look at their schedule, it kind of stays consistently bad after that. They got the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Vikings twice, the Titans, the Falcons, the Giants. I mean, I don't think that like number 1 seed is off the table for the Lions right now. So I'm definitely digging some Lions right now.
That's a
I
tough
have to
division.
agree. I gotta agree though. They don't play a top 10 defense based on last year's stats. Dome heavy. They got a good shot this year to have a lot of wins. Ravens
Right.
stink.
I've been actually like tinkering in Milo for a little bit. That felt more sexual than I wanted it to be, but effectively, like I'm trying.
Don't lie.
That one I didn't want it to be, but I'll take it in general. But I'm trying to build in like opponent difficulty, home field advantage, like schedule stress. So we were talking about like the travel to Brazil, like, and I haven't done past data in it yet, but the initial framework is like Detroit easiest opponent difficulty. So just who the opponents are, like by a considerable margin. The next ones overall in the season are Cincinnati and New Orleans, and then the Jets and Cleveland as like just opponents considered throughout the season. Then you have game difficulty, so like factoring in home and away. They're still the top easiest on that. And then the one thing that it is pointing to is they do seem to have a little bit more travel or fatigue stress than other teams. They're top 5 most stressed in terms of that. So that would account for like travel, teams coming off bye weeks, stupid stuff like that. But yeah, we were all talking about like Detroit as Super Bowl contenders and potential likely favorites the year before. Stuff happened last year. They're still wildly talented and got a stupid easy schedule.
Yeah, they're destined this year. I think they're. I picked them last year to win it all, and I was very wrong. But I'm tempted to do it again this year. So our next category is called the quiet gift. This is the team that got a real present, but no one's talking about it. Not the obvious one. It's going to be a hidden one. Could be a travel slate, a buy placement, an opponent collapse, something subtle that pays off. Vin, you go first this time. Who has a quiet gift built into their schedule?
You guys mentioned it earlier. I had the Bengals. They had the 30 easiest schedule coming into this. They finished third place in the. No wait, yeah, 30 easiest schedule coming into this. Burrow's back. Everyone's healthy. They got big Dexter Lawrence in the middle. I think the defense is going to look a little bit better.
Sexy
Can't look
Dexy.
worse. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, so they got my nod because they're at least going to finish second in the division at least. So they're shooing for the wild card.
So I just got to ask. Obviously, you have a strong Ravens hatred, but you're a Joe Burrow guy for the Bengals. That's in your division. Can you explain that to me?
I inherited him on my fantasy football team, and I
gotcha.
can't trade him away because nobody wants him.
Nobody wants Joe Burrow? Okay.
Not for the price versus what they're willing to offer.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Chris,
Ben likes a
what do you got?
Oh my!
Sorry, what was that, Rich?
Do you have a quiet gift for us from you or Milo?
No, I mean, Detroit was probably the top one for me. Like, their schedule is just cake.
Yeah.
Like, it's I would be so happy, right? There's a little bit of scheduling quirks and whatever, but overall, I'd be pleasantly happy in general if I'm a Lions fan with the schedule.
Right. All right. Well, let's go to our third category, which is the worst draw. So this is the bad news. We're going to talk about who got punished here. So it could be a brutal opener, bad buy placement, too much travel, just something that we think is going to lead to a bad start or a bad season. And Alberto, we haven't heard from you yet. So let's talk about the worst draw. Who do you got?
The worst draw for me is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have back-to-back international games in London against Houston Texans and Eagles, which were both playoff teams last year. And then in the first 6 weeks, up until their bye week 7, they have to play 4 teams that are in the playoffs, including the 2 that I mentioned beforehand. On the 7th day, they rested, so they have a bye week in the 7th. And then they wrap up the second half of the season with 7 out of 11 games away.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty brutal draw when you put it like that. Before I tell you my answer, this is not because I'm a homer at all. I just got to preface that. My answer,
You are.
I'm not. I hate my team. I hate
100%.
hate my team. So my answer to me is obvious, and it's the Patriots. I mean, if you look at their 2025 opponents, it compiled one of the weakest schedules of recent memory. They played the Raiders, the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice, the Giants, Titans, Saints, Browns, Falcons, an injured Bengals team, and the Panthers. If I could pick a schedule, that's what I would go with. So it was legit pure and unfiltered trash. It was actually the liquid at the bottom of a trash bag. That's what their schedule was. This year, they're playing actual professional teams. So they have the Seahawks, who took their lunch money in the Super Bowl. They got the Lions, the Bears, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Jags, the Packers, and the Broncos. So if you're just talking about from cake to this is going to be hard, I mean, for me, it's the Patriots. So in the words of the great historian Diana Rossini, I don't see the Patriots winning a ton of games. I love my husband, and I hate going on boat trips. And speaking of landmines, that leads us to our last segment, which is buried landmines. So this is the team whose schedule looks fine on the surface, but has something nasty hidden in it. It could be something subtle, or it could be something that blows up in November. So, Chris, what is your hidden landmine, not named Diana Rossini?
This is gonna, well, it could be good news or bad news for my buddy Alan, but the Dolphins going from the third easiest schedule in 2025 to like the second toughest in terms of opponents. It's going to be a real long year for Dolphins. But if I'm them, suck for Arch or whoever else comes to the top of the QB pool by the end of the season. Like I said, I was mentioning building it up in Milo. Miami has the second hardest opponent difficulty behind Arizona because San Fran, Rams, and Seahawks. That's a brutal division to be in for that. But Miami's number 2 on the list behind that. And when you adjust it for home away context, they're still number 2 on the list. Arizona's considerably more ahead of them. I think this is a race to the bottom between like Arizona and Miami. Now, like I was mentioning with Rafael, I know I'm putting a couple of teams out there, but I'd be very wary if I'm San Fran and I'm the Rams with their international travel slate. Like you have to go to Melbourne, you need to go to Australia, which is going to be worse than the Brazil game because you're changing time zones as well with that, in addition to the flight. And then I believe San Fran has Germany this year too. Like they're just going to be flying back and forth everywhere, and that's going to.
They also have 3 East Coast games that they have to travel to the East Coast for, so that's going to be rough for them, especially for a team who's always seems to get hurt. It's going to be a rough season for them. I feel like
that's going to suck for them in the playoffs. If they're in the playoffs, they're going to be exhausted.
And the Cardinals aren't favored in any game this season. They play the Jets. They're not favored at home against the Jets this season.
Let's go, baby. We got one. That's it. That's the only game the Jets are favored.
You're like that meme of the dude that's on the podium popping bottles, but he's in 6th place.
No, I'll take 31st. As long as it's not, well, actually this year, 32nd would be better. But, we got one. I'll take it. All right, so my landmine is funny, and I gotta preface this with my wife actually thought of this, and if it comes off as terrible, it's because my wife is terrible. But
no, she's perfect.
No, she's terrible.
She's great.
She's my sister. She's terrible.
She's perfect.
So let me start by saying I don't think a newborn baby is a landmine. It's a loaded comment there.
Well, somebody was loaded.
Right. I do think a newborn baby is a landmine to your schedule and your sleep. So I was talking to my wife, who is honestly the biggest Josh Allen homer of all time, despite being a Jets fan. And she says to me, Josh Allen may have a similar down year to Jared Goff because of the baby. And I was like, at that moment, I knew that I made the right life decision all those years ago. So long story short, our hidden landmine is actually Josh Allen's baby. So Josh is going to learn that you can't audible out of a 3 a.m. feeding, and he might be a little tired. And it actually lines up if you're looking at with Jared Goff last year and the Lions. So for me personally,
because he can't afford a nanny or anything like that.
Well, no, I mean
living in Buffalo's inflated home economic division with his contract. Got it.
He's going to be heavily involved. Haley Steinfeld said he wants to be home, and he said, I will. And I would do that for Haley Steinfeld, too, because let's face it, she's nice. That's our landmine. So that's what it is. Anybody else?
Babies. Rich's landmine.
Right. Long story short. So any other landmines before we move on to the draw? I mean, out of the draw here?
I like your landmine. That's a good point.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes the other way. Like sometimes you get like that new dad glow and you get those like dad muscles and crap and you just do some dumb shit.
Well, I guess we're going to see.
What would be the opposite of a landmine?
I don't know. What's the opposite of a landmine?
Something.
A swimming pool, like a hot tub, something nice.
I feel like the Steelers getting rid of Arthur Smith is the opposite of a landmine, in my opinion.
Thank you, Rafael. That's very nice of you to say. I agree.
But then they brought in McCarthy, so
still better than Arthur Smith.
He's a guru, Chris.
I think most things are better than Arthur Smith. I agree with you. So, all right, that was the draw. Coming up next is Chris's baby. It's called The Claim, where Chris is going to give out 4 bold predictions from himself and Milo, and the table is going to react to every single one of them. So, Chris, take it away. What is our first bold prediction in The Claim?
Yeah, so a little bit of like prefacing on this. like I said, I've been building up this win-loss tracker. These takes were slightly before then, but they still fall in range of where I'm calibrating the new Milo to. But we got 4, and then we got some takes from myself on the schedule release. So the first one, record over performer. Baltimore Ravens. Milo is predicting 13-4, which in the newer, slightly more tailored iteration is still within the range of possibilities. They have them going anywhere from 8 to 13 wins, but 13-4. So Raphael already covered the first 6 components. Opponents are trash, so they're going to get off to a fast start likely. I would be a little worried about their international travel personally. The over-under is 11.5, which, looking at Milo's new prediction, is pretty much right on point with what Milo's thinking. But Milo's liking the Ravens at 13-4. So I'll toss this one to Vin, even though he's taking a drink right now, and I'll vamp for a sec.
Sorry. Whatchamacallit, I don't like that at all. I think the Ravens, they probably will start pretty good early on. However, Lamar's getting older. His body type, the way he plays, he always breaks down at the end of the season. It's just the way it's that style of play. Henry's older, new system, new coach. I think they might even hit some growing pains early on. They're just gonna falter. The division is very tough. Bengals are back. The Browns they're gonna be good this year. Trust me this time. They're gonna be good this year. Just like every year. But yeah, that division is it's gonna come down to the wire again. But Steelers are gonna come out on top, and they'll fight for a wild card spot with the Bengals, I'm sure.
In what way are the Bengals back? Their defense
They got
is still
Dexter
gonna be
Lawrence. They got Dexter Lawrence in the
Well,
middle. He's gonna excuse me. Can I claim my time? I'll claim my time. They got Dexter Lawrence in the middle. He's going to stuff the run, and that's going to help the whole defense, shoring up that D line. I really like that for them. And Slick Joe, you know, you gonna bet against him? He went to the Super Bowl.
I'm
Has
betting
Lamar
against
Jackson
their
been in the Super Bowl?
defense.
Has
I'm just
Lamar
betting
Jackson
against
ever
the
been in the Super
defense.
Bowl?
They put up record number of points. Was it last year or the year before with Joe Burrow? And they still couldn't do anything because that defense was just so terrible.
Has the Ravens been to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson?
I don't know what to tell you, Vin.
They didn't, did they? Weird. So
I mean, I feel like the legitimate clapback on that is what have the Steelers been doing? And the Bengals, I don't think really did well in that Super Bowl.
They tried.
I am a Joe Burrow fan. Like, he seems like a dog, and I like him, but
they got Aaron Donald. I mean, guy's a freak. What did the Steelers do? They got a revamped offense, and that's what they were missing. Rodgers threw 24 touchdown passes. That's like in the median of the NFL for all these guys that everyone claims are great. He's going to come back and throw over 30 this year. Got Bernard, my 1-2.
Do you know Rodgers' record against playoff teams last year?
Is it Rodgers' records or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Rodgers.
yes.
Rodgers.
Rodgers. Okay, he's 1 of 53, my friend.
Okay, well, I'm asking you what was his record last year against playoff opponents?
Irrelevant. I don't discuss individual statistics
Right.
of that.
It was 1-5, Vin. It was 1-5.
1-5.
Yeah, he stinks. He's
Big-
overrated. He's
big
watched.
Well, we
He's
have
probably-
DK Metcalf as our wide receiver 1, and he's a glorified wide receiver 2. And now we have Pittman, who I think Rodgers is going to abuse pretty well. I think Pittman can get over 100 catches this year easily. And then Bernard, the dog. Metcalf will do okay too. He'll take some heat off the other guys. But, bro, you're crazy if you don't think Rodgers throwing 30-plus touchdowns this year. Pitt's winning 10 to 11 games.
I don't.
I think we need a sandwich bet.
I was going to say, I'll let you guys continue pissing on each other's legs after this show. We'll move on to number 2 right now, though. So this is a contender that's going to stumble that Milo is predicting. The Chicago Bears. So entering their bye week, which I believe is week 10, Milo is predicting 4-5 entering that bye week. So the first 4-ish games aren't too terrible. Milo's thinking a quick start, but then they got like a rough slate in the middle of the season right before that bye. New England, Seattle, Tampa Bay. Like, it could fall off the wagon real quick. Or maybe this is where we just posted on Twitter about that one scenario for the Bears. Maybe this is the springboard for that. I personally view them as slight frauds. I know they kicked the Eagles' ass on Black Friday last year. Wasn't pleasant for me being there, but they give me slight fraud, and I'm just bigger on Detroit. And honestly, I think Green Bay is a better team too, personally. So, anybody like the Bears, or you with Milo on this?
I'm going to disagree with Milo on this one. So I'm higher on the Bears this year than I was last year. So I think they're either going to be 5-4 at the bye, or 6-3 going into the bye. I think they can beat the Panthers, the Falcons, the Jets, the Vikings, and the Bucks. So I mean, there's my 5 right there, and I also think that they're going to go toe to toe with the Patriots too. So for me, it's either going to be 5-4 or 6-3. Obviously, their schedule is the hardest in the NFL, but I mean, I feel like, Ben Johnson as their coach, offensively, they're just going to keep finding ways to win. Hopefully not in the last second 100 different times like last year. Hopefully they can win from the beginning to the end. But yeah, I think that they're going to be better than Milo thinks at the bye this year.
I actually kind of agree with the nerd slop that is Milo. I think they had a lot of close games where they had to either come back or win last second last season. I'm a big Ben Johnson believer. I like him as a head coach a lot. I kind of wish the Ravens had fired Harbaugh a year sooner and got him.
I thought the same thing with Sirianni. We were coming off like the Super Bowl and crap, so we couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't do that. But, I mean, looking at the schedule and the division and the fact that they didn't really have a really, like, standout game last year where they just dominated, all 4 quarters, it feels like it's going to be a rough road ahead for them.
I agree.
Yeah, same. I agree with that.
Moving on to number 3. So this is just commenting on the current market, like the betting market. The Lions plus 1,800 versus their actual schedule reality, which we've already touched on being stupid easy. New England Patriots of last year level easy for Detroit. They're plus 1,800 for the Super Bowl, I believe. And it doesn't seem like it's pricing them in. Like, by comparison, the Chiefs are 15-1 instead of the Lions at 18-1. I'd personally be taking Detroit in that instead of the Chiefs because, as I've said before, the Eagles broke the Chiefs. They're just broken now. That's what happens. You're welcome, NFL. I know you hate the Eagles, but you're welcome. So how do we feel about the Lions plus 1,800 Super Bowl odds, and particularly in relation to the Chiefs being 15-1? Are they underpriced, overpriced, correctly priced?
I mean, they're underpriced because they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. So I know that we're talking in May right now, but if I was to pick a matchup, I'm going to say it's going to be the Lions against the Rams this year. And I know we're super early, but just looking on schedule and everything else, I think I would jump on the Lions now because it's only going to get worse for the odds. So I'm definitely.
Who do you think comes out of the AFC?
What?
Who do you think comes out of the AFC?
I don't know. I mean, for the NFC Championship game,
say it.
So I'll chime in here because I've been like tweaking with the win-loss totals. The uncalibrated, because I want to put in like historical betting lines and crap like that for the last like 5 to 10 years. So it's uncalibrated, but the initial projections have Buffalo as the top projection at 11.4 wins, Baltimore as number 2 at 10.7, and then KC at 10.3 and the Chargers at 9.8. Like, that's how Milo is looking into it, like building in the framework that I've been doing tentatively that's been destroying my usage on it. Like, I could do one prompt and then I got to wait 5 hours to do another prompt. But the range of possibilities it's giving Buffalo and Baltimore is 9 to 14 for Buffalo and then 8 to 13 for Baltimore. So I think those two should be the favorites coming out of the AFC, personally.
When is Mahomes
come back? Baby brain Josh Allen, it goes against everything I said before. So I got to eliminate the Bills right off the bat. I have the Ravens winning 11 games, so I'm gonna say the Chiefs just because I want to be super boring and chalk on this.
When is Mahomes expected back?
Week 1. That's what I'm
Really?
seeing. He's already doing golf outings and having fun, so I think he's projected to start the season.
Okay.
So, last claim before we talk about the schedule release videos. This one was kind of like a wild card category. It's not necessarily predicting that the Seahawks will go back to back, but it's saying we should be on more of a back to back watch with them, specifically because, one, usually defending champs get like a really crappy draw in terms of the schedule, and it's not really the worst for them being a Super Bowl champ. It said the most favorable post championship scheduling that repeated was New England in 2004. So it's not necessarily saying they are definitively going to go back to back, but I could tell from the win losses, Milo does like the Seahawks. The division's a crapshoot because the Rams and 49ers could be equally as good, and that's just going to be a dogfight. But it likes them a little bit. So what are we thinking on that? Seahawks back to back.
Negative.
No.
It's
I
hard
think-
to believe Sam Darnold being a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. I agree.
There's just
I-
too much talent in the NFC. Like, I think it's going to be a crapshoot.
I
Sorry,
can
go ahead,
see it.
Rafael.
I can see it. Seattle's defense is bar none probably the best defense in the league, and Mike
Ooh,
McDonald
look
knows
at
how
that.
to.
That take you get
That
booed.
goes
I really didn't want him to have that take at all.
The
That's
nether
a bad omen. I am not putting anything on the Seahawks with that
Yeah.
one.
The nether god
Rafael,
came in
if
and
you're not
said-
aware, your video feed like cut out for a second. You disappeared. So
Yeah.
Cut
it was
that,
actually
Rafael.
kind of funny.
I mean,
that
we're gonna
Rafael.
send Raphael to the Shadow Realm for that take, I guess. I would
got the
leave that
back
in. You just got teleported. That was kind of awesome.
He's in the back rooms.
Yeah, everything on my screen just disappeared for a second, so I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into the schedule release thing because if there's anything I'm particularly good at, it's arguing about dumb things. And schedule release videos, like, they should be entertaining. Like, it's May, we're in the dead season right now. Make them entertaining. Like, we got nothing else going on. You're billion-dollar franchises. Let's do it. So, we put out this graphic on the socials, which is final verdicts. Effectively, I watched all 32. Well, caveat, I watched 31 because Detroit's was impossible to find because Dan Campbell means business and we're not going to put it anywhere on the internet because we're boring. Shut up. We came up with a couple of different categories. So the first one is unironically rewatchable. So these were the ones that I considered the actual best videos. So if you're thinking of past years, like everybody always says the Chargers are the top, things like that. Like, what are the ones that are like, yeah, this one kind of slaps? There were ones that were like, didn't skip, solid, entertaining, cool. There was one that we called Local Media Hall of Fame, which were probably ones that were deeply coded for the local fan bases with inside jokes and crap like that. We had Marketing Department Presents because there was a crap ton of advertisements. I saw a lot of StubHub. I think the Jets was presented by like JetBlue or something, even though they didn't fall in that category. But some of these teams could float between them. You had the NFC Least or Beast, just the NFC East, because honestly, they weren't really falling into any of the other categories effectively. And my general takes on them were kind of funny, kind of good, or this was weird. So I just put it in its own category. And then we have Jags Energy, because I got some thoughts on the Jags. So starting with the top, I already mentioned Detroit. F them. Like, come on. Just put out a schedule release video that actually matters, worth a damn. First off, I think universally the Colts is viewed as goated. Perfect. No notes from my end. I'll just run through all my rankings and then you guys could chime in real quick. The Cowboys, I thought I was going to hate it when I first turned it on with this Tyler Intelligence Agency stuff, but I legit lolled at certain points of the Cowboys one. Like they mentioned no booty juice for Hurts. In reference to Philadelphia, they said their children are violent, which true, factual. And then it was like, they're West Coast people. We don't believe in witchcraft. Like there were these little dumb nuggets. It was just really good, and I'm gonna give the Cowboys their flowers on this because it was entertaining. And then on thin ice, still in the unironically rewatchable tier, the Chargers. You're on thin ice though. Like I kind of like Halo. I feel like you're getting a little too niche in this. If you're a fan of the Chargers and Halo, you were probably jizzing yourself and it was the best thing on the earth. What I will say is the Chargers are so good at just cataloging what happened throughout the football season for each team. Like, I think they legit probably have weekly production meetings. It's like, what happened in the NFL this week for every 32 teams? Is there anything to put in the schedule release video as a dig? Like, the hidden gems in there are so good. I'm not going to go through every team. I figured the top three deserved. Well, I guess anybody disagree with any of the top three that I have here?
I do.
I love it.
I do.
What did you have in the top tier?
My top three, obviously the Chargers. I put the Raiders in the top three. That Step Brothers reenactment, so to speak, it was perfect with Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza. I really enjoyed that one. To be honest, the Colts didn't really. I'm a big Simpsons fan, and for some reason, it just really didn't do it for me. I was hoping to see more of the schedule release during the actual video instead of them just leaving it for it at the end. However, I'm going to contradict myself and say that I also liked. I guess I'm not contradicting myself, but I also like the Browns. I'm a Street Fighter fan. I grew up on Street Fighter. I still play Street Fighter to this day. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I thought that was really well done, and
I enjoyed the Browns one. It was very 90s millennial coded, and please continue pandering to me. I will eat that stuff up all the time. For the YouTube people, there was a Matt Pat. If you don't know Matt Pat, like it's a film theory where like he did those videos before retiring, like low-key decent big deal on YouTube. Matt Pat was in there, and it definitely had influence on there. I enjoyed that one. Here is where I will push back on the Raiders one. Great theme. Love a Step Brothers thing. Would have probably ended up in a didn't skip or local media Hall of Fame tier for me. My issue is Kirk Cousins. That Melvin ass bitch. He is boring as all hell. Like, he ruins everything. He's exactly who I thought he was when I watched Quarterback, and he's like, I'm gonna make sure that I get home at 5:00 to my family. Perfectly commendable. Is not what I want in my quarterback for my team. Like, these are separate things. I want somebody that's a psychopath as my quarterback, wanting to be in there 24 hours a day. Kirk Cousins is a Melvin, and he drug that entire thing down. Like, great theme, terrible execution, personally.
I don't know. I've rewatched it like 3 times. I thought it was well done.
I hope you look through it through the Kirk Cousins sucks. I've just been out on him for a long time, being in the NFC East. That dude's a nerd. All right. What are some of my other takes? Let me get back into my sheet. So, next tier down. You kind of covered my next one that I wanted to do, which was the Browns 90s commercial Street Fighter theme. Keep pandering to me, please. The Patriots, which were in marketing department, presents. Here's my issue with the Patriots. You just made the Super Bowl. You have plenty of money. you had your people just ride a roller coaster and say names of teams. Terrible. Like, they redeemed themselves because they gave a second video that was dog themed, and they named them the Patriots, which was adorable. So, roller coaster one, trash. Dog one, good. So, just do better in the future, Patriots. The Vikings, that child is a fetus. Will the Thrill, that dude is a fetus.
The best part about the Vikings one was Chris Jericho showing up. That got a pop out of me for sure.
I figured you'd like that. But I felt like I shouldn't be consuming that on YouTube because he looks so young. Like, it felt like I'm too old to be watching whoever this fetus is. It's not okay.
You sure it wasn't
next
Kyler
year-
Murray? It wasn't Kyler Murray in
Was-
disguise?
You got
I
to
was gonna
admit, the Thrill's a great nickname, though.
Yeah, Will the Thrill. The next tier, which was the NFC Beast or Least. Eagles fan, I'm going to talk about Eagles. Some things that I just kind of noted. I enjoy them still being bitter about Arizona's field in the Super Bowl because legit, like, the Eagles win. I'm not going to say they do win the game, but they are much closer to winning that Super Bowl against the Chiefs if the sod father did not come into play. Because that defense was built on speed at the defensive ends, and when you got a slick field, that entire advantage is gone. So I just enjoy that they could have easily edited out that portion about Arizona's field, and they didn't. They left it in, which tells me they're still bitter about it, and I enjoy that pettiness. 2, there was a white Kelly Green teaser in there, so I'm wondering if we get the white Kelly Greens this year, just whatever game. Here's my issue with the Eagles. They have a top 3 probably social media department in football. Like, their content is very high quality in terms of analysis and entertainment and crap like that. They are never competing for the top schedule release video. It feels like they come up with their own, like, kind of like safe-ish topic and just go there because it's fine. Let's do better. Let's be better. That's my thought on that. And then finally, Jags energy. Rich, I know you're probably going to talk about the Jets. Personally, I don't mind that color blending type theme. It felt lazy. It's the same issue I have with the Eagles. You're a New York franchise. You have tons of money. You don't need to sponsor this by JetBlue and mix some colors and call it a schedule release. We could put a little bit more. That's my problem with it. I'm entertained by those types of videos. I've watched those on TikTok plenty. But getting to the Jags, they are an unserious franchise. So if you didn't watch it, Trevor Lawrence gets a haircut. His hair didn't even look better after getting cut. I looked at Stacy and I'm like, does this hair even look good? And she's like, it's interesting, which, if you know Stacy means, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, they are so ready to be in London. Like, they have their bags packed. They're just ready to not be in Jacksonville. They were told they have to have a schedule release video, and they just did this. Like, I watched that video, and I was viscerally angry. Like, I was annoyed watching that video. So, those are my quick takes. I have my raw notes. If anybody has any other takes on the schedule ones, which ones we liked, which ones we disagree with my rankings. Like, you said you didn't like my Colts rankings. You had Browns higher and you love the Raiders. Anything like that.
I'll hop in real quick. The Jags one, I couldn't agree more. As soon as I saw it, all I could think was dumb, stupid.
So angry.
Very, very stupid. I got to say, this is probably a very unpopular opinion. Tampa Bay's, I get what they were going for. However, I have a problem with Bert Kreischer. I can't stand Bert Kreischer. Keep your shirt on, you freaking goober. Like, seriously.
He's the machine. Come on.
He ruined everything about that schedule release video for me. And just watching him on the jet ski the whole time, like, get out of here. I'm sure that's an unpopular opinion because he's a popular comedian. But give me Shane Gillis over Bert Kreischer any day of the week. That's all I got to say.
So here's the thing that I had on Tampa Bay. I am with you on the oversaturation of Bert Kreischer. 100%. It's like when Jason Kelsey oversaturated the market, or both Kelseys and Donna and all of them oversaturated the market. Bert Kreischer is that for me. That was my first note. That Bert Kreischer, I'm out on. He's oversaturated. It felt lazy on Tampa Bay side and low-hanging fruit. But soon as you gave me the linemen doing Baywatch style stuff, brought me right back. Give me the big boys on a beach, slow-mo, titties jiggling everywhere. Perfect. Well, didn't skip. Not perfect.
That's still something. All right, so my quick dig here is I just found it so ironic that the Jets' schedule release lined up with their product on the field. So, I mean, the Jets' schedule release ended up being the second most popular, most watched video of them all. So it was low budget. It had no plot. It gets worse the longer you watch it. So it's basically kind of the Jets after they're eliminated in October. But you got to respect the hustle of the team. Obviously they're going to throw out something for a sponsorship because their owner is a little cheap. But I mean, people watch it. It's crazy. The Jets are terrible year in and year out, and they have the second most people come to the games. So it kind of lined up perfectly with this video.
This is such a easy thing for engagement and entertainment purposes, and to just invigorate your fan base a little bit. It's so easy to do, and they didn't. And that's what I'm annoyed at. And it was so difficult to find on YouTube. I had to do multiple searches, and I think I watched somebody reacting to it personally. It was difficult for me to find.
I got spammed all over Twitter. People on Twitter were like, "What is this paint? What is this paint?"
Well,
doing that.
You know, I'm not on Twitter. You know, I don't do the Twitter.
Yeah, but it got hate watched so much that it made it so popular, which is exactly what the Jets, I think, were trying to do. Ooh, let's mix two colors. It equals this color. They're gonna hate this. Boom. So, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, I think.
I think the Jets one was actually better than the Ravens one, to be fair. The Ravens one was just bland. It was cool for I don't know who happened to see it, but, they did a wedding crashers thing where Zay Flowers crashed a wedding. And it's cool for the people that were getting married. But as far as a schedule release video, it was very lame. Just like Vinny.
That was my exact take on the Ravens one. Here's my raw notes. Another SeatGeek sponsorship. Weird. Meh overall. Mm-hmm. Awkward. Glad those people got an unforgettable moment, but felt forced.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even a quail hunt. You got to have a quail hunt. You got to continue the movie, So.
Any other major takes from anybody out there on schedule release videos?
Nah. Pitts was boring. Not funny.
I was going to say, I feel like the Pittsburgh one would have played well locally. They went full Pittsburgh Yinzer stuff.
Probably did. But
it's fine.
Twitter wasn't a big fan of it, but I think local Yinzers loved it.
Yeah, because they're idiots.
No. No.
Eat shit, Pitt.
All right. I've had enough out of you.
On that note, Rich, you want to take over the third segment?
Yeah. So after that fun, the fine print is our final segment of the show today. Every show covers strength of schedule, winners and losers. Nobody builds a full segment around the structural weirdness buried inside the schedule. So that's what this segment is. It's going to be scheduling details nobody else covers. So we're going to do the grind, which goes over the rough patches in the schedule. Then we have bye week traps, total miles traveled, and one game that looks easy but has a structural reason to bite someone in January. So 4 blocks. Milo and Chris drops the data, and then we open it up. So Chris, open it up with the grind. What do we got? What's the first block here?
So for the grind, the longest away stretch, so 3 consecutive road games in November, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. November road swing, it's at Baltimore, at Tennessee, and then at the Giants, 3 straight away from home. This comes after 2 London trips. I believe they get their bye in between there. I will say Milo has Jacksonville and Houston neck and neck on projected wins. So this is the type of thing in a schedule. If you could overcome it, it probably secures you the division, but it's going to be real rough.
Yeah.
The other team, in terms of the grind that it has, is the 49ers. So you have, I mentioned it earlier, they have the single worst metric right now with all of their travel and back and forth between East and West Coasts. So you have Dallas on the road in Mexico City in week 11. You have Seahawks at home. It's a 3-game stretch involving cross-continental trip. So Mexico City is their designated home game, so they're losing a home game, which I always hate, but I understand, and I actually appreciate how they do it with the teams with 9 home games lose a home game, so it kind of normalizes it. That makes sense to me. The week 8 bye week helps, but the November gauntlet is real, and they're just traveling everywhere. So those are the 2 that Milo has identified for just, they're going to be on a grind this season.
That might
Anybody
benefit
else?
the Niners though. They got the monster, the electrical grid monster at home.
The schedule release videos did love poking fun at that.
Yeah, the Chargers especially, that was hilarious with that. So their grind is their joints and their muscles because they're getting radioactive sludge. That's fun. Anybody else thinking about any grinding going on? Pause. Anybody else?
I'm always thinking about it, buddy. You and me.
All about that bump and grind. So Block B is going to be our bye week traps. So this is the teams that are getting hit with the most rested opponents. 2 very obvious ones here. I know we're going to be talking about the Chargers and the Eagles. So Chris, let's talk about them. Why do they get the shortest straw with this?
So for this one, and I'll keep it short because I'm sure Alberto has a little bit of takes on this, being an Eagles fan as well. But both the Chargers and the Eagles are facing teams coming off a bye 4 times, which just should not happen with the schedule. I do think potentially on the Eagles side, what happened was they have that London game, week 5, and generally the NFL will ask the team, hey, like, do you want a bye week after international to rest up your guys? And the team could say yes or no. I think the Eagles said no, which is why their bye week is not week 6. And then they just kind of just fit things back into place instead of like re-rolling, recalibrating, whatever. And that's why they ended up at 4. I feel like 3 should be the absolute max that a team should face coming off a bye. I understand there's statistical, like sometimes people are going to have 0, sometimes 1, 2, 3, whatever. 4 feels aggressive, and that sucks for the Chargers and Eagles. Alberto, you got any takes on this one?
I mean, it's just going to give that team an extra week, but a lot of teams sometimes come out of a bye week rusty. So the Eagles are going to be battle tested because their bye week is a little bit further down. Same thing with the Chargers. The good thing is, they play in a more warmer tropical area, even though I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're indoors. But even then, I don't think they should have any issues. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know we're talking about Eagles and Chargers, but I think Ravens kind of have similar thing where they have to face several bye week teams. I'm not sure, but if they do, I think they shouldn't have any issues. Both Eagles and Chargers were playoff teams last year, so they should be good to go for those.
And just a note, teams with 0 post-bye opponents: Bears, Chiefs, Seahawks, Niners, Steelers, Bills, Cardinals, Falcons, Panthers. So got a whole bunch of teams, 0 teams coming off a bye. So it's just one of those weird scheduling quirks, oddities.
Yeah. Vin, what do you feel about teams coming off of a bye? Do you feel like it gives them the advantage, or you kind of think that the rusty thing comes into play?
It depends on the team, the coaching staff. I mean, when it's the Steelers, they always somehow win off the bye. But I Division two. I mean, you mentioned the Chargers and the Eagles. Those are tough divisions. I think the whole season is going to be chaos for both of them. So the buys will definitely help them when they get it. But if they're getting killed with teams coming off buys facing them, it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah. Rachel, how do you feel about having 3 of them?
What do you say, Rich?
How do you feel about having 3 of them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be rough. However, if Jesse Minter's defense is going to be as good as I think it's going to be, I'm not too worried about it. It really depends if they're home, if they have to travel, where they have to travel. What team is it? If we're playing against the Browns after their bye, I'm not worried about it. I hate that I keep crapping on the Browns, but it's true.
I mean, it's built into the color. I mean, it's the low hanging fruit that makes the most sense. So
That's fair.
I will say one thing in reference to the Eagles, though, slightly building up the MILO stuff. The game difficulty adjusted for home and away context. MILO has the Eagles as the 3rd easiest. So it has Detroit, then New Orleans, and then Philly, which kind of tracks with my gut feeling of, I know they're playing 4 teams coming off a bye, and that should not happen. But looking at the schedule, I wasn't as annoyed as other years. So that kind of tracks to me like why I'm not just annoyed right now. So just something to note that 4 bye weeks, cool, like not the greatest, but there's a lot of other things in here. Like they play the Seahawks and the Rams at home. So they have to come to the East Coast, and those are the big dogs in the conference right now. So like there's things like that built in that it just gets adjusted easier for the Eagles, which I think is interesting and gives me hope.
And also it's a beautiful lead in for Block C, which is the total miles traveled. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but that was perfect.
Just a professional. Let me scroll down. Yeah, we're doing top 5 most traveled miles. That's right. Yeah,
right.
I was there.
That's next. So obviously, the difference between I think the top and the bottom team in miles this year is 15,000 miles. So it's a wide range. So you just talked about West Coast teams coming to the East Coast, vice versa. But tell me a little more about it, Chris.
Top 5 teams in terms of travel miles: Niners, Cowboys, Jaguars, Rams, and the Patriots. Now, I mean, a lot of this gets inflated with international travel games. If you're going to Australia, that's a long ass trip. If you're going to Brazil, that's a long ass trip. Like some of that's baked in, but like you said, there's a 15,000 mile spread between those top 5 teams and the bottom 5 teams, which is the Titans, the Browns, the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Packers. The Titans and the Browns are a shade under 4,000, and the Panthers, Vikings, and Packers a little over 5,000. So just one of those oddities. Like you can only do so much. Like the international games, different story, but the schedule is set. Like you know what division you're playing each year. The only thing that's up in the air is the placement. Like you play a first place team if you're a first place team. Like otherwise, it's locked. So when things like this come into play, you can't really control that as far as I'm concerned, except for the international games. But it's 15,000 miles is a lot of miles.
I mean, if you're looking at the teams that are traveling like very little, they're like bottom of the pack team. So I don't know how much it's going to do, for the Titans or the Browns or obviously the Panthers just won their division, but I think that was kind of a fluke. I kind of focus more so on the good teams that are going all over the place. I do think that actually has a lot to do with the game itself, but unfortunately the guys that are traveling the least this year, I don't think it's going to really move the needle for them, just personally. Anybody have a strong take on the miles and what it does to a team? even though they have a hotel on wheels in the sky. What do you guys think?
Jet lag's real, bro. I went to Thailand last year or 2 years ago now. Doesn't matter. But I couldn't imagine playing a sport right after getting off a plane. I mean, I know they sometimes they come like a week out, 3 days out, some shit like that. But still, jet lag when you're going that far, like Australia, you're saying, I don't know.
That's a long ass flight. I've made the flight to Australia, fly out to LA,
How
and
long
then
is
you're in
that?
the air after that for like 15 hours or something. I
Really?
watched like 6 movies.
Yeah.
It is a brutal flight.
A trip to
Thailand-
Thailand. A trip to Thailand is sketches. Hell.
Yeah, dude. Well, I had to get on 2 planes. One to South Korea, and I watched like 10 movies, and then like another 3-hour one. Watched another couple movies. Watched The Matrix.
How was-
No big deal.
How is Thailand? That's actually high up on my list of places I wanted to go.
It's pretty sick. We went during the Thai New Year called Songkran, and like everyone just gets water guns and water balloons and shit, and paints your face. It's fun.
Huh.
See a bunch of like 8-year-old kids beat the shit out of each other at night. Smoking cigarettes in the corner.
It's that kind of
Love
entertainment.
seeing 8-year-old kids at night.
No, beating each other up, dude. They were fighting. They're trying to make a name for themselves.
You had Will the Thrill out there.
That's what they were
That
doing.
fetus.
I mean, they got to smoke cigarettes too while you're at it. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
if you're going to go for
Bro,
it, just go for it.
My buddy, he fought some dude out there. We didn't know who he was going to fight. We met up at this gym, and they ended up getting him a Thai guy who was smaller than him. My buddy's like 6'3". This guy was like 5'8". He had over 100 fights, 100 victories, I think. In between rounds, he's vaping, drinking a beer. The guy was lightning fast. My buddy, he held his own. He didn't get dropped or anything like that. Like, obviously lost decision. The guy was insanely good. But, you know, just having him just chug beer in between rounds and vaping was nuts. I couldn't imagine doing that.
You go back to the old days of the NFL. That's what they all did. That's when men were men.
Yeah.
Right? Smoking cigs.
Keith Hernandez.
Yeah.
Keith Hernandez had 9 cigarettes lined up in the dugout between each inning.
That's
He
why
was
he's
ready
the
to
next
go.
legend right there. You know,
Yeah.
still doing it in the booth. Gotta love Keith.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Keith.
He's the man.
Keith is the man. So our last block here is the trap week. So the trap week is a game on the schedule that looks like a foregone conclusion, but has structural reasons to flip. You know, there are a lot of built-in weeks where we see a trap game. I'll start with this. So for me, if I'm looking at a trap week, I'm looking at week 18, and it's going to be the Lions and the Packers. So based on talking on the show, you guys know that I feel like the Detroit Lions are going to be cruising, and in my opinion, on their way to like the number 1 seed, having the easiest schedule. I feel like the Packers and Lambeau, that late in the season, it's going to be really, really cold. Jared Goff really doesn't do well in sub 30-degree weather. And you're going to be having a crowd that's going to just be going at the Lions all game because they want to play spoiler. So for me, a game like that has all the ingredients for a giant slayer game. And it might lead to the Lions scrambling afterwards, trying to find their seed. So that's mine. Who has
What
a good
week did you
trap
say that was?
That's the last.
What week did you say that was?
18.
That can't be a trap game.
No.
I think they're both going to
Last
be
week of the season. You're saying a divisional last week of the season
Yeah.
is a trap game.
Yep.
Absurd.
That's
They're
that
going
tells
to be 1 win away from a number 1 seed, and they're going to take their foot off.
Absolutely
No
absurd
way.
that could be a trap
no
game.
way.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
They're going to be flying high, and then they're going to go to Lambeau. Packers are obviously
Listen,
gonna be a lower
I'm
seed.
I'm not saying anything about the outcome. I'm talking about the concept that the last week of the season against a division rival could be considered a trap game.
If you look at all the NFL Network stuff where they say, "Oh, the games that shouldn't have been the outcome," they do the last week of the season 50% of the time. The team feels confident, they take their foot off the gas, and they get smacked. So for me, it's going to be a trap game because I think the Packers are going to be locked into their seed, and I think the Lions are going to be the ones that are not going to be locked in because they're going to be going for the number 1 seed. That's a trap game. Alberto, you disagree. Go ahead. Trap game.
Trash.
I don't know, because that sounds like the what was it? The Chargers and the Raiders game, and the Raiders ruined it for them, something like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's always the bottom.
Oh, the one that was a
But
tie,
that was,
or the one that should have been a
but
tie, but then
yeah,
they were dumb with the timeout, and then they lost.
yeah,
That was so
but then
dumb.
they got into the playoffs and they were like what, 6 seed, 7 seed. So
Yeah.
like like if Detroit has an easy path to get there, they should be done with the division by like week 14.
But not the number one seed. There's only one bye now in the NFL. So you got to fight. They did that. So the teams fight until the very end.
That's
So
true. That's true.
I just think the Packers, no matter where they are going to try to ruin the Lions' chance there. So who else has a trap game here?
I would say week one.
Yeah,
Week
go
one,
ahead.
Seahawks versus the Patriots. I think Seahawks are riding high. If the Patriots are in fact getting AJ Brown, I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at this game. Get
2
a
more
little
weeks.
revenge. Say what?
2 more weeks until they get AJ Brown.
That's like finalized. It's like legit happening.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, that'll definitely help. But
You don't need Diana Rossini to break that news.
no, I would like her to.
I mean, I could see that, though. There's always such a juice to the Super Bowl champions, that first game of the season. Like, there's a juice level that home team seems to do really, really well. And I mean, makes sense. You're the Super Bowl champions. You're going to be a good team the next season, likely. Home field advantage, which Seattle has a considerable home field advantage in general. Yeah. But I could see it both ways. I do see the Patriots kind of falling off a cliff a little bit, but I think they're still going to be solid.
Well,
I wasn't a huge Drake May guy, but
the Seahawks are losing their running game because now you're getting Price, but with his small sample size in college, Charbonnet, he's not coming back to like week 12, I think we said. So I mean,
somewhere mid-season.
Yeah, I think they rely heavily on the run game, and if Price gets the rookie jitters week 1, he's not who they thought they were. Patriots are kind of more in that game because Kenneth Walker, he kind of dog walked that game for them.
I think the Mike Vrabel stuff is going to kind of be a distraction throughout the whole season, though. So I could see them flop in week 1 just based on that.
The players will get it. They go, "Oh, you cheated on your wife."
Yeah. If only he was floppy, none of this would have happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
Never a problem for me.
Well, there it is.
I think
I have 2.
I think that
so Milo has 1, and then I have 1 because I disagree with Milo.
We love
so that. Milo, and it's the same issue that I had kind of with yours, Rich. Milo is saying the Cowboys versus the Eagles is going to be a trap game, specifically the Thanksgiving game. Milo is thinking the Cowboys are kind of going to be mediocre up to that point. The Birds are going to be doing well up to that point. And it's saying that, like, it's in Dallas. Like, Thanksgiving always has some juice for them, even if they're a mediocre team. So it's a classic trap game in that sense for the Eagles. Side tangent. Can we please, I'm fine with the Cowboys permanently being on Thanksgiving. Fine. They should have to swap whether or not they're at home or not. Because that is a scheduling advantage that is just given to the Cowboys every single year. I don't care about them just being there on Thursday, making them away every other year. Completely unfair to anybody that's always home on Thanksgiving. Absurd.
Isn't Detroit always at home?
Huh?
Isn't Detroit always at home on Thanksgiving?
Yeah. They generally haven't mattered. They're going to be good now, so it kind of matters. That's why it hasn't been talked about as much. I'm from an Eagles-centric with that. But my issue is the same thing with your Week 18. It's a division game. It's Thanksgiving. There's going to be juice. There's no way that could be a trap game. The real trap game for the Eagles to me is Carolina. After the London trip, Carolina's coming off a bye. I think Carolina's going to be trash this year. That is a trap game. Mediocre to trash team. Shouldn't even be in the game. I think that one's going to be a weird, sluggish game for the Eagles. I hope I'm wrong, but those are my two.
I mean, the Panthers did play spoiler a lot last year, so I mean, it is possible. But nothing's more of a trap game than Detroit versus the Packers Week 18. Anyway, anybody have one before we end? Any other trap games?
I think the
anytime Pittsburgh plays a bad team, it's a trap game. They somehow I just looked up that they don't play the Raiders this year, but they somehow are slightly beat the Raiders or they lose to the Raiders some way, somehow. But some team that stinks will hop. Maybe the Jets. Who knows? They'll hop in there and beat them.
You have one, Alberto?
Yeah, I think Cleveland is going to play spoiler all the matchups they have against the AFC North.
That's a bad take.
Nope,
That's a bad
it's
take.
going to happen.
We agree, man. Bad take.
It's going to happen, guys. Get used to it.
Friendship.
Wait. You think the Browns are going 6-0
Against the AFC? No, they'll probably split it, but they're going to, make it close to them. They're going to try to ruin teams. Like, they're going to try to ruin the Ravens' chances. If let's say, for example, either the Steelers or Cincy are there and they're trying to, get a last walkout spot, they could,
They're
play
just
spoilers.
trying to ruin it like Deshaun Watson ruins linens.
Hey,
Like,
just watch the season. Watch the season. I'll tell you later.
I'm not worried about it.
Historically, the Ravens do go 3-3.
They do.
I looked at that before.
division games are weird.
Yeah. So it's possible. I don't see it. I mean, the Browns are the Browns. I agree with Vin and Rayfel when it comes to the Browns. The Browns are the Browns, and that's coming from a Jets fan. So, all right. We ended on a high note with the trap game. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning into the show. Please follow us on socials and audio platforms at WaiVER CLaiM Show.
WaiVER CLaiM.
Do you mind if I throw something in at the end here?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can find us on YouTube.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. YouTube can wait. Rayfel goes first. Let's go. What we got?
It's just a stupid take. I meant to bring it up earlier when we were talking about the schedule of release videos. Did anyone see the Falcons schedule release videos? Or video, rather. They did like a This Is ESPN type thing. And I found that very entertaining, especially with Matt Ryan and being the first in the beginning. That was a really underrated video, in my opinion. I just wanted to get that out.
Here's my notes on that one. When Matt Ryan said, "Get effing set," that cracked me up. Agree, the old school ESPN commercials pander to me with all that nostalgia. Mm-hmm. There was the Saints garbage can. There was Drake versus Kendrick. Not really sure what that ceiling Bijan shot was about, but whatever. I will say there was too much barking regarding Jalen Walker, but I enjoyed it.
All right. So, welcome to 25 to 30 minutes ago, Rayfel, while we were talking about it and interrupted our YouTube. I appreciate it. Rayfel does come first before any of this YouTube stuff, so you can interrupt me at any time.
My wife.
Right. This is such low-hanging fruit. I really want to say something.
Go ahead.
No, I want you to get out it. I was going to say it was another coming joke. So Again, low hanging fruit, but do the outro, buddy.
I'm going to try for the fourth time. Don't follow us at this point. I don't even care. Don't follow us. I don't know what our things are. I don't know what the handles are. But if you want to, you can follow us on YouTube at WaiVER CLaiM. You want to hit subscribe and help us spread the word. Hit us up and let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're all about changing stuff up. This is the season to be dead and to learn. And then, we're going to have 3 fun segments every week for you guys. So if you have any ideas for segments, by all means, throw them our way. So until next week, this has been WaiVER CLaiM. WaiVER CLaiM.
WaiVER CLaiM.
WaiVER
CLaiM.
WaiVER CLaiM. WaiVER CLaiM. Under in the state of green. Yeah, we play that game. This is WaiVER CLaiM. Under in the state of green, from the draft board to your screen. Who you start? Who you fade? Who you ride all week? Human mind versus the mainframe. We decide that speak. Yo. Yo, it's Rich with the picks, got the board on lock. Sunday slate, money line clock, tick, tick, tock. Sleeper in the slot that your league don't see. Turn the bench spot boy to a big time fee. Chris with the takes, feeds the frame that thinks. Ask one question, watch it blink, blink, blink. Got data, got charts, got a slide side eye. If the robot wrong, then we both gon' fry. Okay, okay. Craig on the mic, baby face, big talk. Walk you through the spread, do the chalk outline. Walk from the mock to the prop to the live in game. If you scared of the sweat, why you press that name? MILO the mainframe spits out plays. Human gut check, call that fade. Binary brain meets bar stool brag. Either way we cash when we plant that flag. This is WaiVER CLaiM. Under interstate of green, from the draft board to your screen. Who you trust, who you blame? Every week same theme, human heart